Hello Cancer, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for February for the Sun or the Ascendant. Going to give you a flavour of some of the key standout developments this month. Of course, the full moon on the 5th, always important, the moon being your ruler, and this is asking you to think very carefully about how you can balance the ins and outgoings in your situation financially, who isn't at the moment, you may say. But Uranus is in the mix, and that's asking us all to be a little bit more innovative in our approach to how we handle different elements of our situation, but that can be a bit unsettling, so I need to tell you about that. Also, the Sun moves on the 18th into your sister water sign of Pisces. That presents a lot of opportunities in the following 4 weeks, but on the same day the moon combines with Pluto in your sector of relationships. Because the 9th house can be about higher truths, I think a key conversation is going to occur at that point in the month for you. Now, Venus is going to be climbing to the top of your scope on the 20th and forging a really super link with Jupiter across the last 2 days of the month. This is something I'm really excited to share, particularly from a professional viewpoint. So lots to talk to you about, Cancer. If you are new to my channel, I'd be honoured if you'd subscribe. I have 29 million views on YouTube, but your subscription would be an honour. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me once more. However, if you've yet to order your year 2023 personal forecast, so you can rise above this zodiac broadcast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you your forecast for the next year, and also your life roadmap in my special package of 30% off, which helps you to understand some of the deeper patterns that have come up for you, good and bad, and help you to become more intimate with how to deal with these and how to gain traction from working with your strengths more closely. Also, in my special package, you can get your zodiac forecast for the year, your Chinese and Indian forecast too. Please see the link beneath this video. So Cancer, your February forecast begins with Mars, which has been causing some mischief for you, to be honest, since late August last year, because it's been locked in your 12th house, stirring up a lot of emotions from your past, perhaps some unfinished business, a lot of things that you thought may have been settled and you'd let go of may have been re-evoked in some way, particularly from the 30th of October through to the 12th of January. But Mars is travelling forwards, and on the 25th of March it's going to be moving into your sign, which is something to really look forward to. But it's actually forging a stunning link with the Sun across the first 2 days of this month. And something you have been working at, perhaps behind the scenes, can really give you some kind of great satisfaction or a great amount of motivation. And it may come about, this situation, in a surprising way. You're going to have to dig deep within yourself to get the most of this. But if any zodiac sign has the capability to do that, it's you, because you can be so strong and resourceful. But the full moon on the 5th, a big event for everybody, but always for Cancer, because it's your ruler. So this full moon occurs in the sign of Leo. Now, of course, Leo is a very grand sign, can be very generous and warm-hearted, and perhaps you in your everyday situation are doing your level best to support those you care for. But on the other side of the heavens is the Sun, but also Saturn. And Saturn has been rather a harsh influence around shared resources for the last near to 2.5 year period. Now, the Sun is going to come into conjunction with Saturn in week 3 of this month. So it's possible that a lot of discipline, a lot of application, a lot of hard work that you've put in over that last couple of years can come back to you in a very solid way. It's just that Uranus can be quite a disruptive influence because it's T-squaring both the position of the moon and the Sun. So what this means is the more idealistic side of your nature, and perhaps the part of you that can be a little bit more impulsive, competes with the side that needs to think about the here and now, but also the longer term when it comes to resources, but also about your emotional world. The second house is about how we feel about ourselves, how much value you have about you. And also, on the other side of the heavens, the 8th house is where we're very invested in situations. But what Uranus can do is shine a light of truth. And in the 11th house, that could be that someone's going to be quite blunt in how they share, how they feel about you, particularly if they feel that in some way maybe you're trying to, as they see it, be a bit possessive or a bit controlling in your approach. That could be uncomfortable to hear this direct conversation, but if something does come out into the open, or you're more straightforward, then just go with it, because between the 8th and the 12th, Mercury is going to be combining in your sector of relating with the deep Pluto, and if something penetrating needs to be shared in a relationship, see it as being part of what a necessary process is. But on the 11th, Mercury dives deep, and whatever the conversation that's gone on, it will give you the opportunity to understand what's really been meant. So sometimes we have to see the subtext of conversations. The 14th is Valentine's Day, and the Sun is very close to Saturn on that day. And I think if you are meeting someone, you know, on a date and you don't know that person very well, I think it probably could be a bit cagey, because Saturn could make you a little bit resistant to opening up. But the thing you should guard against, I think, is weighing up anyone new based on what their financial status might be. Because although that is important to feel secure about who we may be bonding with, it's also important to see people's overall riches, not just in terms of the balance sheet. But if you're in a long-term relationship and you do work in a very devoted way with one another, this can seal the tie even more. If that's a bit of an issue, then that could be a snag. But on the 18th, the Sun makes its way into the sign of Pisces. If you have been thinking about a need to break out or travel, or to even go and see friends or relatives at a distance, this will give you the appetite to do that in the following 4 weeks. But on the same day, as I mentioned before, the moon does connect with Pluto, and it could lead to a big heart-to-heart conversation. The 9th house can be higher truths. Perhaps there's going to be more of that seems to be a bit of a pattern this month for you. But on the 20th, as Venus makes its way into Aries, technically debilitated, but for you, this can see you use your charm and diplomacy and also decorum in how you interact with people in the professional world. If you are looking to do something completely different, the personality side of your interactions is just as important as your skill set. But the new moon on the 20th is aligned in a disassociate way with Saturn. So it means Saturn's right at the end of Aquarius and the new moon's right at the start of Pisces. So the moon is going to be cooled down somewhat by the energy of Saturn, which can of course be restrictive. So if you are thinking of doing a longer term, a longer distance trip or whatever, just be aware that Saturn can be limitations and resistances. So double check that you've got everything really in order before heading off. Also, if you're having a conversation with a professional, perhaps a lawyer or a financial advisor in the following month, it will need to be very businesslike, so prepare yourself for that. But right at the end of the month, Venus forges a brilliant link to the Sun in a semi-sextile, but also a wonderful conjunction with Jupiter. So the two planets of fortune come together as the curtain comes down on February, and this can bring a real slice of good fortune, and it could be around your professional situation. In a romantic tie, if it has been going well and you've managed to negotiate that full moon and Saturn's conjunction with the Sun and Mercury and the Moon's conjunction with Pluto, it's possible that the tie could go to the next level of commitment, and that could be very, very lovely indeed. But Venus conjunct Jupiter could be very fortunate. Perhaps someone close to you, your mum and dad, or some other people that you're very fond of, can have some kind of good fortune and actually even be very generous to you as well. So there can be some lovely exchanges of goodwill as February comes to a close. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for joining me, and goodbye for now.